Again, good evening and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Maangaar Summit 2024. Good evening, everyone. It's a great honor to welcome you, all of you, to Maangaar Summit 2024. This summit is testament to our collective commitment to addressing autism with our Somali community, both local and global. Our goal tonight is to foster collaboration, support, and most importantly, to amplify the voices of those who live with and advocate for autism every day. That's very much all of us, I think. And this, today in Minnesota, 4-year-olds is one in 16 has autism. So that means each one of us either have a child with autism or sibling with autism or at least cousin or niece or nephew. So it affects the entire Somali community in the Twin Cities. I would thank Sawari for providing the space and delicious shah at extremely generously community rate. that little part is Anissa. I want to thank you, the youth, the family, and the family circle inside medical service, Amud Center, Inc., Aspire Health, Minnesota, East African Integration Center, Optimum Kids Care, Acacia Mansouri, Somali Family and Youth Center, and Thrive Behavioral Health for covering additional costs that go into planning an event for this size. They will have tables where they will share information about resources and services they provide. Please visit those tables, talk to these people. They have a lot of information for all of us. Again, thank you, all the sponsors. Well, last but not least, thank you, Mahmoud Mas'adeh of VOA. Of VOA Somali for accepting our invitation to attend an interview. Somali TV of Minnesota, Seattle. Thank you guys for coming and accepting our invitation. And for the Somali TV live streaming for this event. We are blessed as a community. Alhamdulillah, one thing we will do is show up and support. We appreciate you, we love you, we honor you, we will show up for you too, inshallah. May Allah bless all of you. As usual, when we have events or event like this, we start with the Quran. At this moment, I will begin with calling Sheikh Hassan Arab Muhammad from South Metro Islamic Center in Grossman, lead our Quran and brave Hadith, Wa'di, inshallah. Sheikh Hassan, welcome.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والضحى والليل إذا سجى ما ودعك ربك وما قلى وللآخرة خير لك من الأولى ولسوف يعطيك ربك فترضى ألم يجدك يتيما فآوى ووجدك ضالا فهدى ووجدك عائلا فأغنى فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر وأما بنعمة ربك فحدث. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم نشرح لك صدرك ووضعنا عنك وزرك الذي أنقض ظهرك ورفعنا لك ذكرك فإن مع العسر يسرا إن مع العسر يسرا فإذا فرغت فانصب وإلى ربك فارغب. صدق الله العظيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. First of all, thank you for hosting this important event. It's very important. And we will start, inshallah ta'ala, the recitation of the Quran. I just read it. I choose these two surah, Wadduha and Alam Nashrah, and I choose it for a purpose. These two surah is talking about difficult times. And this conference is support for part of our community who has going issues with children that has different abilities. So if I translate the surah, inshallah ta'ala, quickly, is in the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. By the morning brightness and by the night when it covers with darkness. Your Lord has not left you, O Muhammad, and nor he detested you. And the hereafter is better for you than the first. And your Lord is going to give you, and you will be satisfied. Did he not find you an orphan and give you refuge? And he found you lost and guided you. And he found you poor and made you self-sufficient. So, as for the orphan, do not oppress. And as for the petitioner, do not repel him. But as for favor of your Lord, report it. That's Duha, Surah Duha, Surah Al-Inshirah. In the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Have we not uplifted your heart for you, O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and relieve you of the burden which weighed so heavily on your back, and elevated your renown for you. So surely with hardship comes ease. Surely with that hardship comes ease, more ease. So once you have fulfilled your duty, strive in devotion, turning to your Lord alone with hope. This two surah comes to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam the time he was in a difficult time, Surah Duha and Surah Alam Nashrah. And it is support for the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This time he was going very, very hard time. The revelation, the wahi, which is the support he was getting from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, stopped for a while, at least 6 months. So he thought maybe Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala abandoned him, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maybe he is not supporting him. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed this surah saying, وَالضُّحَى وَاللَّيْلِ إِذَا سَجَى مَا وَدَّعَكَ رَبُّكَ وَمَا قَلَى. Allah did not leave you, did not left you. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is reminding him the good times that he goes. He was an orphan, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make him, prepare him, people who help him. And he was poor, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him things. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminding him, when you have blessings, talk about, share with it. Same thing the next surah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling him, didn't we expand your heart? And we take away all the burden and heavy things that was heavy on you. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reminded him, inna ma'al usri yusra. If there is a hardship, a difficulty, and ease and relief comes after that. 2 times. Inna ma'al usri yusra. Fa inna ma'al usri yusra. So this ayah is a support. Support for all of you, support for the families, support for people who are suffering, wherever, especially the one we are right now here tonight, discuss about it, talk about it. It is very, very important to support. So as an imam, as a community leader, I am urging to support this and do some more research, some more discussions on how to deal with this. It's so huge to our community. So inshallah ta'ala, that will be my small talk. If we need of Somali, I can add it. So suuradda waxay ka hadashay wax yar taageero xoog leh in la siiyo dadka dhibaataysan ay marayaan xaalad adag. waxayna ku soo degtay mar nabiga calayhi salaatu wasalaam uu marayay xaalad adag oo culays ku noqotay oo u maleeyay in ilaahay nacay oo ilaahay kala noqday message-ka iyo fariintii iyo waajibaadkii loo soo saaray. dan Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ayadan soo dejiyay alam wadduha wal layli idha saja ma wadda'aka rabbuka wa ma qala. ilaahay kaama tegin kumana caroonin. sidaa daraadeed xasuusnow inuu ilaahay subhanahu wa ta'ala adiga oo baadiyaysan oo lunsan kama wada lunsani yani xun, laakiin adoon message-ka iyo maaragtay fariintan ilaahay ku soo dhibaadahay adoon haysan inuu ilaahay subhanahu wa ta'ala ku siiyay oo ku soo hanuuniyay oo kaaga dhigay inaad noqoto sabab inaad dadka aad wadada xaqa ku toosiso adoo oo agoon oo yar oo aan waxba haysan inuu ilaahay subhanahu wa ta'ala taageer xoog leh ku siiyay. sidaa daraadeed qofka dhibaataysan mar walba ka warhay. فأما اليتيم فلا تقهر وأما السائل فلا تنهر. qofkii dhibaataysan baahan baryotamayana ha guulguulin, ha bushkaraynin, ha riixin. waxaad siin karto si qowlun macruuf khayrun min sadaqatin yatba'uha adan. marka suuradan iyo ta kale oo ay ku jirto ayada ugu muhiimsan ee inna ma'al usri yusrana. markasta oo ay dhibaato culus ay jirto lama rajo beelo, waxa ku xigta yusri, fudayd. laba jeer bay aad u sheegtay. marka means halka culays ee dhacdo laba jeer oo fudayd ay ku xigi doona. marka ilaahay noo anfaco hana la taageero. jazaakum allahu khayran. assalaamu alaykum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
One more time, Sheikh Waad mahadsan yahay. Please, thank you. As I was saying earlier, I think we all somehow, some way, we are autistic, all of us somehow, some way. Not only autistic, but autistic, ADD, ADHD, dyslexia, neurodiversion, developmental delay. And I think all of that, they meet on me. All of them, they have a meeting here. Because how do you know when somebody's have autistic? It's just that they are particular with the time. Today, when I've been told myself we're going to start this event at 5 o'clock, that's all I had in mind, 5 o'clock. After it passed 5 o'clock, I already lost everything. Guess what? I forgot to tell you even my name. All I wanted to do is just get this started and going. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abdikareem Mahdi Hurre. As I stand here before you, I'm not an advocate, but I'm also a father with a remarkable 14-year-old child who is more achieving than what we expected, and thank you. It's hard for me to talk about him, but here, as you can see, we have our keynote speakers. Right now, I want to introduce you to the next speaker is Hamza Mohammed. Hamza known as an autism father in Seattle or throughout the States. Hamza, known in especially Seattle community very well, he's a dedicated father and advocate who spent over a decade supporting autism awareness. His advocacy is deep-rooted in personal experience as he tirelessly worked to educate and empower parents navigating the complexity of raising children with autism, providing them with a both prophetical tool and emotional support. Please and please, Hamza has come from all the way Seattle just to spend some time, because anytime you call Hamza, it don't matter what state you are and you said, I'm speaking about autism, Hamza will fly and will be there. Please give me a round of applause. Welcome, Hamza.
Assalamu alaikum. You know, the funny thing they told me, do you guys want me to mess up? Wallahi, adi adanu bahsanahay. See what I say? See what I'm talking about? When it comes to Somali, wallahi, especially when he's speaking to a gathering, labada habwan garanayo. We got bored. I give you some. For some reason, I don't know why. And I thought I was better though. But the funny thing, I used to be a translator, Somali translator, Tasawudaran. Anyways, let's get back to business. Exactly. Say a while, how can ku kore or ku lume, basically. Alhamdulillah, my name is Hamza Muhammad. Wallahi, I'm very honored to be here. As most of you know, autism is, I sleep, eat, and breathe autism 24 hours a day. I have a 21-year-old amazing son. We've come a long way. So basically, I've just pretty much learned everything about autism. Everything you need to know. Do I know everything? No, but I know a lot. And anytime we have the stage to share with the other parents, especially the new parents who are coming aboard, about our own experiences, we feel like it's gonna help them. So, alhamdulillah, I mean, we've come a long way, as I say. But basically, what's autism? A lot of people will say, because what I believe is basically, when it comes to autism, we have to change our ways. We have to change our language. We have to change how we think and how we see things. It's very important. And so when it comes to autism, it's not a disease. What do we Somali say? Yarkachiran. It's too heavy. And we are killing that child's progress just by using those kind of words. Because there's no cure. Autism doesn't need a cure. We're in a healing process, all of us. Whether we are 50 years old, we have some kind of issue we're trying to get healed from. So when we use words like a disease or an illness, we are killing the progress of the whole meaning of autism. So it's going to be very hard for us to really, really understand what autism is. But being open-minded and really thinking about it, try to ask the questions, we understand we are all learning when it comes to autism. So yes, it's a disability, but still it doesn't make it an illness. So the reason why I share my journey, I share my story, I talk to families, I try to reach as many people as I can, because I personally believe to be an empowered parent, we have to empower other parents. It's critical. All of us, we're in this together, and none of us will ever do it alone. Somebody told me, oh, you don't have to tell anybody your story. I'm like, if I don't tell them, I'm not helping my child either. So we have to all speak up. How are we going to kill the stigma if we don't speak up? So it's really, really important, inshallah. Pretty much in a few minutes, I'll share my own journey to fully understand what we've gone through and what I learned from autism. Today, I want to talk about three main things that's really, really important when it comes to autism. It's basically awareness. Right now, here, this is part of the awareness journey. We are all trying to have a full awareness, try to spread the word about autism. Because let me tell you, there's a lot of mothers, there's a lot of fathers out there who have their kids at home right now as we speak. And they'll tell you, no, my son is fine, my daughter is fine. She doesn't need no help. Why are they hiding these kids? Let's not blame the parents. Let's blame ourselves. You see what I'm saying? Because it's us. Because it's us who creates stigma. It's the society that creates stigma. It's basically, these parents have a fear. They're confused. They're overwhelmed. They're scared. But we don't show no compassion. We don't show no empathy. We don't show them no love. But if we open our hearts, our minds, and tell them it's okay. It's okay, I understand. Let's work together. We can do so much as a community, as a people. Because when you look at it, in most cases, autism is a spectrum. What works for my son doesn't necessarily mean it work for your kid, because they're all different. And that's the hard part, because if there's something that we have a way to fix it, we won't even be sitting here talking about it. Everybody will be like, hey, I got the magic pill. Let's go make it happen. So I really, really believe we as a community can do so much. You don't have to have a child on the spectrum, but you know someone who's on the spectrum. You're probably your own auntie, your own cousin, or whatever. And a lot of people reach out to me and tell me, Hamza, I have a child who's on the spectrum. I want to get diagnosis. But either vice versa, either the father or the mother is against it. They don't want to do that. You know why they don't want to do that? Because an auntie, an uncle, or a grandmother say, it's not how she. See what I'm saying? It's not how she. So you wonder, for the other hand, if I don't talk about this, are these people who tell me in that house shaking, are they going to be there with me through the hurdles, through the hustles, through the struggle? Because let me be honest with you, it's going to get hard. It's going to get tough. When they're younger, there's so much out there to help them. We can open a lot of doors. we can fix a lot of issues when they're younger. But as soon as they get older, trust me, I've been there. And I'm not saying your child is going to be like my child, because I'll say they're all different. But why take a chance? Why? Because if I wanted to talk about to tackle the question of why I share my own journey, because most of my friends over here know they're friends of me on Facebook or social media, as per se. They see me blazing, having every moment of celebration with my son. Every little thing, I'm so proud. I'm so happy. Taking pictures. Just little things, because I know where I came from. So I had a family member who told me once, Hamza, why do you overshare so much about your son? I told her two things. I do this because it's always hard. You don't want to share your private moments, your intimate moments. I mean, you're having so much fun with your child. You don't want to share with the whole world. But I told him, yes, it was really hard for me to share. But guess what? I'm doing this for two things. My own personal journey is a celebration. Every moment. And secondly, how am I going to get these other families to open up if I'm not open myself? Who am I going to preach to? Who's going to listen to me if I don't have my own journey and my own stories to share? So it's really, really important for us to really open up and share. Another example that I wanted to share about when it comes to acceptance, something that falls under acceptance is denial. Denialism. A good example of denialism is you'll find someone tell you, my child is not autistic. He or she is not that bad. It's just a little bit. It's just a little bit traits. Autism has no little bit. We're all autistic in some shape or form. So when I hear these words often, I try to come from a sense of compassion. I give them that compassion because I understand they're not bad people. They're not trying to hide this. As I said earlier, they're doing all this because they have that fear of stigma. They have that fear from the community to look at them differently. And what caused that? You go to the mosque today, you go to the grocery stores, you go to everywhere you go to, people will look at your child and say, that child has a bad behavior. Or that child is some issue with that child. What's wrong with his parents? Why don't they help their child? People are being judgmental, so that brings the fear and changes the mind of the parent to be a little bit overprotective and hide the diagnosis of the child. So we as a community are all responsible. We are pushing them into this locked box. So we have to really, really think hard. I mean, today, we are young generation, people are coming out. I'll go back to the days, 15 years ago, I was giving a speech about autism. There were 2 people in the crowd. Only 2 people. But I had almost more than 100 messages on my phone. People want to know about autism. Ask yourself, why don't these people come to the event that I'm holding so we can share our stories together? They want to come, but they want to know who else is going to be there. Are they going to look at me funny? You see what I'm saying? So, wallahi, autism has taught me so much. My son has taught me patience. He's shown me what the true nature of nurture is. He's shown me how to love. because the journey that we've been through was rough and painful. I remember one time I came from work, working 12 hours a day. And he was having some major meltdown issues. Out of the blue, my son was self-injurious, so he hurt himself. And you are so tired, but you also have to understand your wife was there all day with that child, and she's tired too. So you have to suck it up. Give her a break. Forget about yourself. So I looked at my son. It was 2 in the morning. I'm still up. I can't even move. He doesn't want to sleep. He's having so much issues. Then he just hit his head so hard on the wall. Busted open. Boom. He had blood gushing all over. Excuse me. Yeah, sorry, man. I don't like sharing this because I get emotional. And it's a mess. You don't want to see a big ugly dude crying. It's not fun. But anyways, so you have your child having blood gushing all over the place. You're trying your level best to hold him so he doesn't continue hurting himself. It's so hard. You're trying to hold him down so that you don't wake your daughter so she can see all that blood and being traumatized from that. So I took my son to emergency room at 2 in the morning without even waking up the wife because I didn't want her to see this. She's already tired. And you know how you ladies are. You worry so much. So I figured, no, she's going to say I'm going to take him. So I had to rush him to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, you have another struggle that you have to deal with. Because now they have to they have to basically tie him down. There's no way he's going to get an IV or just let any bandage on his head. So they have to literally put him to sleep, tie him down. So you see all this struggle and it just breaks you down as a parent. You feel hopeless and helpless. You feel confused. You start even questioning your own being. But if a child is young, there's so much things we can do. We can help that child. But the older they get, and we avoid getting those therapies, we avoid getting those diagnoses, it'll be so hard. So another thing that I want to talk about was we forget about the siblings of our kids. These siblings are also sacrificing a lot. We have 2 or 3 other kids in the house, or maybe one other child in the house. How are we helping these other kids? Because traumatically, they're going to be affected. Do we have that right balance? Are we trying our level best to make sure this child grows up to be a child? Just to have their own time and space. Let's not overburden them with our own responsibilities. Let them be who they are and grow up as children. So let's also remember about those siblings. They need love too. Yeah, you know, I'm a chatterbox, so I have to check on my timer over here to let me know that everything is going by. But anyways, we'll talk some more about later on when it comes to the question and the question and answer sessions, hopefully. But thank you very much for listening.
I want to see if my ESL works, so why don't you say in English what you were saying, and I'll translate in Somali.
No. Right now, trust me, even my Somali is going to go out of the window. But I really appreciate you guys. Thank you for showing me some love.
Again, thank you, Hamza. Round of applause. I told you guys, we all have autistic somehow. I do. I had a paperwork that I worked for 4 nights, and I keep changing. Move this piece this way, bring this up front, and as soon as I come here, I don't even know where they are. Well, as Hamza was saying, we are missing the role of father when it comes to autism. Aniga, I was advocating autism for the past 15 years. Mel kastoon tago, every ama therapist ha noqoto, ama meel lagaga hadlaayo ha noqoto, ama meel isugu yimaada ha noqoto, gabadh unbaa jidaysa ilmo yar oo u baahan in wax loo qabto. It's very rare inaad aragto nin ilmo wada ama ilmihiisii wax ka qabanaya. So, like Hamza said, we are really missing the role of fathers, and I'm encouraging all the fathers to take a part of their children, especially if they have autism. And I just want to share with you one little quick, because of I always meet 1 or 2 people that thinks autism is a disease, that you can take a pill and get better all of a sudden. Or just like other diseases, you take a pill, if that doesn't work, you try another pill until you find the one that works. And all of a sudden, you become born again, you know. So I just want to tell everybody, autism, as you all know, is a neurological and developmental disorder that affects how people perceive the world and interact with others. It's not deficiency, it's not a disease, but a difference. A difference that comes with these unique challenges and strength. My journey with my child has taught me resilience, patience, and understanding that every child can flourish with the right support. Believe me, they will. Hello, yes. Right now, waxaan inoogu yeerayaa nin yar oo dhalinyaro ah, 21 years old. Waxaa lagu diagnose gareeyaa autism isagoo 2 jira. Wuu la noolaaday, wuu la dhaqmay, wuu ka koray, wax walba uu qabsaday. His name is Mahad Dahir. Mahad was diagnosed with autism at age 2. Mahad has transformed his early challenges into powerful advocacy for accessibility and inclusivity. He is the first student from an inclusive neurodivergent program elected in student government in Washington State. Mahad is committed to using his journey and future studies in cybersecurity at the University of Washington to enhance accessibility and empower others. Mahad was an amazing young kid that into autism ki la noolaaday, fahmay, bartay, anagoo dhanna noo ah living example. Please give me a round of applause. Welcome, Maangaar Dahir.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. muku makali kare. I can't hear y'all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Jazakallah khairan. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad kama sallaita. Bismillah. Jazakallah khairan. I wasn't expected to speak here, but it's all good. But Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much, Abdi Abdul Hakim, for inviting me and allowing me to speak here tonight. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Mahad Muhammad Dahir, and I am a self-advocate who's been speaking for the past year about this topic, especially in the Somali community, where unfortunately some of us still have ableist values and ableist mindset in our community, and we have to continue to change that, you know, in order for us to thrive, people like myself to thrive in this society. And we'll talk about that a little bit later. But first, I want to talk to you about my journey. As Dr. Hakim mentioned, I was diagnosed with this condition at the age of 2, and I was nonverbal until the age of 4. And one mistake that Dr. Hakim mentioned, he's been doing a great job hosting this summit so far. He mentioned that I'm 21 years old. I am not 21 years old, I am 23. But I'll let it slide, you know. I'll let it slide for now. But I'll deal with him later. But yeah, it's great to be here once again. And Horta, what I want to talk about is like my journey and how I got here, and how I became the person that I am today. So first of all, if you're watching, you are my rock, you are my biggest champion, and you are my biggest advocate for me. When I was a little bit younger, my Somali is not as good as like most advanced speakers, but highly like. Bismillah. But it's really, she was my biggest advocate when I was growing up. And without her support and without her advocacy and without her being a champion for me, I wouldn't stand here. So let's give a round of applause to Mahoide and all the mothers who showed up tonight. And now the interesting details. Brace yourselves. Shortly after I was diagnosed, I began experiencing sensory issues and and I was nonverbal until the age of 4, as I mentioned earlier. But without the number of resources, including therapy, I wouldn't be here speaking to all of you tonight. So I feel like we need to provide resources to our community. I keep asking myself to this day, if I was able to receive the same resources that allowed me to become the person who I am, then how come some of the same people who are either diagnosed or who have not yet been diagnosed haven't received these resources? So I keep constantly challenging myself to not only connect people to these resources, but also train them to advocate for themselves, you know? And one example, I'll give you an example of this. So I was part of a program back in the Seattle area called the Self-Advocacy Leadership Training Program, which allows people like myself to not only fight for resources, but also talk to legislators and talk to community organizers in order to get across my points, you know, and in order to fight for what I believe in and what my community believes in. And so the first step into advocacy is getting out of your comfort zone, you know, like how can you get out of your comfort zone in order for you to build that confidence, you know? And so I was shy. To be honest with you, I was shy initially when I first started community organizing, to be honest with you, because it was tough. It was really, really tough, to be honest with you. But like I always do, I was able to bring it through with the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I was able to fight through my introvertness, for that matter, And I became a very proud, extroverted advocate for people like me. And one of my biggest accomplishments, I had two big accomplishments over the last few years. The first of which I'll share right now is fighting for a bill in the state of Washington called House Bill 1153, also known as language access in all schools in the state of Washington, which allows students in any school across the state of Washington, and their families for that matter, to fight for resources, especially for children who have special abilities. I don't view disabilities as disabilities, I view them as special abilities. So shout out to the person who helped me and realized that. I spoke to her earlier tonight. I'm not gonna mention that person's name, but she really helped me out and really encouraged me to describe autism and neurodiversity as special abilities rather than disabilities. So let's give that person another round of applause. And fortunately, that bill passed. Before its passage in March of 2022, this bill took several years to pass in the Washington State Legislature, and it took community members like me, along with elected officials who are so strong for this bill, who are advocating so strongly for this bill's passage. And it failed over the years, but thanks to community organizations and community organizers and self-advocates and family advocates, without their efforts, this bill's passage would not have been possible. So, and I feel like, and as a result, this bill became a law towards the end of March, and when Governor James Lee signed it. And shout out to the governor of the state of Washington, who's leaving at the end of the year. Without his support for this bill, none of this would have been possible. Without his signature and support for this bill, none of this would have been possible. So, and which leads me to my next point. And going back to that question, how can I challenge myself to be better and push for changes in our society? Well, I decided to throw my name in the hat for student government elections at Highline College, which was one of the most diverse college, four-year institution in the state of Washington, one of the most diverse in all of North America. And I was elected with a near unanimous vote of the entire student body. So, I wasn't expecting all y'all to clap yet, so I'll pass. Hold on a second, Anissa. Sorry to put you on the spot. Yeah, I'll give you that. We can celebrate, but haddamaha, yeah. But hey, that allowed me to become the first student from the inclusive education program for students with special abilities to serve on student government at any community or technical college in the state of Washington. Now you can applaud. This is your moment to applaud now. And from there, I was able to highlight that very special program called Achieve, which allows students like myself to fight for not only be a part of society, but also work together with people in our community in order for us to thrive, and to, create laws and pass laws, that'll be in our favor. And from there, now going back to that SOM program I mentioned a bit ago, after my graduation from that particular program last year, I was able to become a trainer for that particular program, and that allowed me to really impart my experiences, my up and coming expertise about advocacy, so I could teach other people with special abilities how they can fight for what they believe in. And especially at a time when our rights are under attack, and given that this year we're going to have a big national election. Yes, national elections matter, but at the same time, you have to do a lot of stuff for your community locally, in your states, in your communities as well. So I believe we should all advocate for what we believe in our communities and in our states. So And that's the mission I've been on, and that's the mission I'm always going to be on for life, you know, ensuring people with disabilities have access, people with special abilities rather. I'm still getting rid of that disability from my word map, but who cares really? But at the end of the day, we're all still learning, we're all still growing, you know, no matter how old you are, so hey, but I want to give one particular person a shout out, you know. He's in the crowd, you just heard from him moments ago. His name is Hamza, so let's give Hamza one more big round of applause. You heard Hamza talk about his story and how his son's diagnosis affected him deeply, you know? And his story is one of just numerous examples of how our community we need to, although there has been progress in this space, we need to continue making that progress, you know, because at the end of the day, the work is not done, you know, and we should not rest as a community. So I feel like all the autism parents out there, keep doing you know, keep educating, keep being impactful, keep disrupting the status quo, because it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter how many people you piss off, as long as you make your point, you know? So let's give another big round of applause to all the autism parents out there, including Hamza right here. And finally, I just want to touch what Sheikh Hassan beautifully mentioned in those two surahs of the Quran, Surah Al-Duha and Surah Al-Nashrah. These two surahs really, really touched me, you know, because as a person with this condition, I feel like I face a lot of challenges in the past, and I'm still facing a whole lot of challenges today. But at the end of the day, I look at these two surahs and they tell me to keep on going, you know, because the work never stops, and neither do we. Because I'm around the world and around the clock, you know. I'm facing a lot of problems, but at the end of the day, you gotta have a fresh mindset, you know. And these two surahs tell me to keep on going, you know. And so I feel like the Holy Quran teaches us a whole lot of things, you know. I'm still learning the Quran, by the way, but it's so beautiful that like how our deen teaches us to be very, very kind. 2 minutes, okay, thank you, Hamza. But it teaches us how to be, how to conduct ourselves with respect, with how do we also treat others, you know, because it's not just about you, it's about the other people in your community, in your family, so. And we autistic people, and people with special abilities in general, have to be more understanding, you know, of other people's situations and how we can be impactful and helpful to them as well. So, and to that end, I just want to thank my family for supporting me and being impactful to me from a very young age and teaching me how I can be an impactful member of society as well. So let's give a big round of applause to all the families who supported our journeys. And I'll close with this. I'll close with my 4 pillars of leadership. Number 1 is all about collaboration. We all want the same thing, right? But we all have different ways about tackling the issues, you know, the issues that we face today. So we have to collaborate with one another in order to achieve numerous things in our society. Number 2, we got to hold each other accountable. How can we, and our elected officials and community members accountable? How can we see the change if we're not, how can we see progress if laws are being passed or if changes that are made are not being, what's the word I'm looking for? If changes are not being flagged down, you know? So we gotta continue to hold each other and our elected officials accountable for that matter. Number 3, storytelling. You heard Hamza tell his story, you heard Abdul Karim tell his story, and you're gonna hear a whole lot more stories in the next few hours. Because I believe storytelling is very, very critical especially now more than ever, especially right now, because if people don't know who you are, then how are they going to know your journey and how successful you become? So I believe telling your own stories is very, very crucial in your journey, which leads me to my final point, inspiration, because I don't have a lot of time, you know? Inspiration. Like, if you can inspire others by your own journey, then boom, you got something special, because when you inspire people, you tell, especially those with special abilities, you tell them, hey, this is all possible, you know? And you're looking at, you all are looking at someone who's who went from being nonverbal to the person who's speaking to you all right now. So that's a huge inspiration. I hope you all are feeling inspired from not just tonight, but what I'm gonna do, what I've done in the past, and what I'm gonna do in the next 10 to 20 years. So I just want to thank y'all for coming up, and let's get to work, y'all. Boom! I'll put back to you, yeah? Jazakallah khair.
Thank you. One more time, round of applause for him. He is a courageous young man. You know, every time I look at him, every time I talk to him, I tell myself, you know what? My son is going to be okay because of him. Right now, I'm going to call my co-pilot, Anisa Haji Mohammed. She's going to introduce our next speaker. Welcome, Anisa.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I didn't know it'd come up sounding like that. Okay. I will go to the stage. I just need to go to the right PowerPoint. Let's see. There we go. Okay, so my name is Anisa Haji Mohammed. I'm one of the organizers for this event, but there's a lot of us. They're all around the room. They're parents, professionals, providers, and I'm so happy to see this room so full, but I'm not surprised because autism is finally getting the light that it needs. It's getting the time and attention that it needs, sometimes in a negative way, but mostly in a positive way. And so I want you all to, before we continue on to the provider panel, which will start soon, I want you to know the story of Maangaar. You see that up on the presentation, right? And not everyone is familiar with the word Maangaar. What does that mean? Well, I have a special guest who will tell you exactly what that means and how it came to be that Maangaar is what it is today. Hussein Ojama is a pharmacist. He's a dedicated father, community member. He's very active in the health space, making sure that we are all working to reduce disparities when it comes to healthcare for families. He's an incredible, intelligent, amazing person, and I'm so glad that I know him, and he's kind of famous if you really think about it. Welcome, Hussein.
Assalamu alaikum, dhammaantiin waan idin salaamay. Magacaygu waa Xuseen Jaamac. Waxaan ka sheekeyn doonaa waxoogaa Maangaar sida uu ku yimiday. Waxaan rabaa wax yar oo bulshadu sida ay kolba xaalad ugu magac bixiso ama ay u fahanto waqti iyo cilmi baaris iyo isbarasho ay qaadataa. Macallimiin, dhakhaatiir, dadka luqadaha yaqaana, cid walba ayaa isu timaada kadibna waxa ay keenaan wax ku habboon xaaladaas. Mararka qaarna wax iska dabiiciya, mar waxay noqon kartaa diabetes, dadkeenu waa iska wada yaqaanaan, macaan ama sonkor ayay yidhaahdaan. Intaanan Maraykan imanin waxaan joogi jiray Qaxoonti, aana ku soo koray. Marka waxaa jiray weel lagu dhaansado biyaha, jerrycan ayaa la oran jiray. Dad badan oo dadka galbeedka ka yimaada way yaqaanaan jerrycan, laakiin jerrycan af Soomaali ma aha. Dhowr sano ka hor ayaa waxaan ogaaday jerrycan inay tahay caaga ninka jerry uu leeyahay oona garanayn ciduu maanta yahay laakiin waa cherry scan weeye innaga laakiin waa iska aqbalnay luuqadeena maanta talyaani baa ku jira af carabi baa ku jira waxyaaba badan ayaa laga helaa ereyga maangaar waxaanu la niminay waqtigii pandemiga dadku ay guryaha ku jireen dunidina ay madoobay meel kalaba hoos la yidhaha baan isugu iman jirnay 5 magac oo kala duwan ayaanu la niminay 5tiina dad badan oo maanta halkan jooga oo maanta qaar badan aanan la kulmin ayaa 5tii magac kala dooqay ereyga maangaarna waan ka soo saarnay haddaba ereyga maangaar wuxuu u taagan yahay maan oo maskaxda qofka ah mar badan dadku waxaa la yidhaahdaa maanka maxaa kaa qaaday maanka miyaad laadahay waxaa loo jeedaa waa maskaxda bini aadamka gaarna wuxuu noqon karaa waa unique markaanu isku darnayna waxay ahayd unique mind oo ah qofkan in leeyahay maskaxdiisu ay isaga khaas u tahay dunida 7.5 bilyan baa ku nool 2 qof oo maskaxdoodu isku tahay dunida ma joogaan ama walaalka ha ahaado ama walaasha ha ahaado caddaan iyo madow Asian iyo Afrikaan 2 qof oo maskaxdoodu ay isku tahay ma jiraan autism-kuna ma ahan xanuun magacyo badan baa loogu yeedhaa dadyowga uu qof xaaladaasi ka qabo magacyo fara badan waa laclac waa qof asaasaqa waa qof caqliga la waa qof maran magacyada faraha badan waxaanu dadka ugu wacyigelinaa oo u sheegnaa inay maanta jiraan erey kaga habboon oon doonayno inaan bulshada siiba dumarka aan ku caawino sababtoo ah dumarku waa mar walba lafdhabarta bulshada waana kuwa dadkan xaaladaa qaba aada ula tacaala tiimkan aan anigu ka mid ahay soo qaabisayna ayaa leh maamuuska iyo sharafta ereyga maangaar hadalkayga badin maayo schedule-ku waa dheer yahay intaas ayaan kaga tegay waad mahadsantihiin
Thank you so much, Dr. Ojama. Okay, so next is actually me. I'm back to the mic and I'll be moderating a discussion. This will be our first panel, and this panel will be for providers. So I would like to invite up my providers for tonight, Dr. Avian, Mohammed, Muna. Come on up. And Dr. Mpanda. I did not forget you, Dr. Mpanda. You're the best. I did not, Mahad, I did not forget her. We're just waiting for Muhammad Ali and Munas coming up. Muhammad Ali, oh, there he is, he's coming. So just to kind of give you a breakdown of what's going to happen tonight, we do have a very full schedule. There's people who contacted me and were like, Anissa, why does your flyer have 1,000 people on it? And I'm like, they all need to talk, they all need to share. This is a big topic and it needs to be tackled from many different angles. And so that's why I invited so many. And today, I'm going to give you the chance to introduce yourself, but I just want you to know that I know all 4 of these amazing individuals. One of them just happens to be my nephew, actually. And I'm really proud of the work that they're doing. And so today I want to basically, I'll give them the mic in order to introduce themselves. Yeah, there we go. I'll give you this mic here to share. So I invited them today to talk about what it feels like to be a provider, what are some of the intentions and motivations behind opening a center. In the Somali community now, we have many centers, which is amazing. We need more culturally competent care. We need more people who understand our kids. And we need places where we go in and we don't have to be walking encyclopedias about our own culture. And we play the educational role when really we're looking for services for our children. Plus, if you're an autism parent, you know you don't have any energy to give. So it feels so amazing walking in and seeing someone who looks like you serving your child. And so with that, I'm going to let the first panelist introduce himself. Hamid Ali.
Hey everyone, can you guys hear me? Hey everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. I am a center manager at Breakthrough Therapy. I'm in the St. Cloud division, so coming away from there. There's 3 centers, one being here in Bloomington, just in the neighborhood actually, and one being in Rochester. It's a pleasure to meet you all and take part of this.
Assalamu alaikum. Magacayga waxaa la yiraahdaa Muna Abdi. Brand new. Oh, should I speak English? My name is Mona Abdi. I just started about a month ago about a brand new center here in Woodbury, and I'll tell you the reasons I opened this center later on.
Yeah, I am Fonda, and I am an occupational therapist working in a clinic here in Bloomington.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm Dr. Bashir, and I run and operate an ABA center and a clinic that provides other mental health and behavioral services.
That mic doesn't seem to be working. So thank you all for introducing yourselves. I want to start with Dr. Abian, since we started with Mohammed last time. Dr. Abian, first of all, I just love you. I love the work that you do. You inspire me. I actually have my children going to Dr. Abian, and I have followed Dr. Abian for years. Like, I followed her on Snapchat when she used to do a series about mental health, and I was like, this Somali girl, she's the only one who's talking about mental health. And this was back in, 2015 and before. And so my question for you, Dr. Abian, is what is your biggest challenge in having a center that serves autistic children and other children with disabilities, and what is one greatest success that you can share?
Absolutely. Is this working? All right. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I always have to tell myself I gotta own my anxiety. You guys, this never gets easy. I always get the jitters when I'm in front of so many eyes. So it is what it is. I'm acknowledging it. So you asked me what propelled me or what encouraged me to start, or is that what you're asking? Or what were the challenges, actually? Yeah, so what are the challenges? I'm going to, given that we are here as a community and as a collective, I owe it to you guys to be completely frank and honest with you all. I think one of the most challenging pieces of doing this and tailoring my services to match the needs of many immigrant communities, but I also am where I'm at because I want to be able to give back to my community. And I think what has been challenging is when I continuously see that the services are not appreciated for what they're actually supposed to do for your child. And I think that that isn't more of a personal thing to the parents, and I really like that Hamza talked about this, because I think we have to think about the programming and conditioning that we have as a community as it relates to disabilities. And there is just a whole host of constructs and ideas and ways in which we think about these situations. And so what's been difficult for me is trying to help a parent understand that it isn't a mere fact of bringing your child to a place. It's about understanding that you're allowing your child to reach the potential that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordained for them. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to do this toxic positivity and say that your child is going to be absolutely 100%, because again, there's science behind why the brain is wired the way it is and what are the difficulties as it relates to how a child with disability shows up in the world. And so what's been difficult for me is continuously trying to almost sell this idea that isn't so much, something that I'm, an agenda that I have, but to say, even in this country that we live in, there's many people that are dealing with physical and mental and psychological disabilities, and they do not sit there and say that it's just going to be there or that it's not going to go away. You have professionals, doctors, people with disabilities and abilities like Dahir Sen, is that right? I'm sorry if I remember it, the young man who's an advocate, that this is actually a special power, that if we were to lean in and understand what we can do to provide the resources and the tools for the child, we don't have the construct to think that somebody with a disability can actually live a normal life with, that has quality of life, that actually means that, they could reach places that maybe is beyond your understanding. So I think that is the challenge, and I think also that, strategically, I want people to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I do have to start at that place with parents, letting them know, what is this service? Why would it help? How does it inform the wiring of ASD? And then when the buy-in is there, I mean, it's incredible. These souls are absolutely geniuses. I mean, you guys, and that's where I want to always remind people, is that when we're thinking about disability, there's a different construct in the West and European understanding of this, right? Because maybe they've had a establishment that allowed them to have these resources to see where the person's potential is, right? Like in Anaga, we haven't had that, right? Like, what constructs or what programmings or structures do we have? Even if we go back to Somalia, I mean, that's not something that I think we have any historical evidence for, and if we do, my ignorance, I'm sorry, but like, you have to be able to see what's possible in order for you to ascertain what's possible, right? And so oftentimes I find myself that we don't think that far out, and people don't realize that if we really do invest in our children and provide the appropriate services, that there is a great quality of life that's on the other end of that, right? So that is my challenge. My success is I got different kids after 3 months. And so with that said, I get to see these little people, these little souls, progress and actually meet the potential that I know that they have, right? And every kid's potential looks differently. But when you see a child coming in who's nonverbal and having done the work that you're supposed to be doing with the child, after 3 months, you see a child who presents in the world in a different way, because scared children don't learn, avoided children don't learn. Kids who do not have a space to be fully themselves and showing up in who you are and who they are do not learn. So when you create that kind of environment, you work miracles, I suppose. So that's my long-winded answer.
Thank you so much. That's a beautiful answer. Next, we have the amazing Dr. Mpanda. My question for you is, you work in the world of OT, and you can kind of go over what that is for those who are not aware. Our kids who are autistic or ADHD, who might have sensory issues, and again, that's another area that not a lot of people know about. But what are some suggestions, after you go over these definitions, what are some suggestions that you have for families to do at home? Accessible things, easy to, very affordable things to use at home so that their children are helped with sensory issues or whatever other issues they're dealing with.
All right. Okay, so I'll start by talking about what is OT, occupational therapy, as many kids are in occupational therapy, going to clinics either once a week or twice a week. Really, we go to OT to learn about things that we can do with our abilities, looking at what the individual can do, not what they cannot do, but what they can do, their strength, working on that, and then allowing them to really evolve that the strength that they have. And really go from, we look at sensories, we look at ADLs, we look at, all part of life, a holistic person, we look at all of that. So when we're talking about sensory, there is, oh gosh, that's very broad, but I'll talk about sensory seeking, sensory avoiding, and all of that. So really just assessing the kid and knowing what their need is. Because when we see some children are really sensory seeking, really just, for example, seeking movement, they want to throw themselves on the wall or on the floor, really seeking that big input. But some of them just really avoid the sensory input. Giving my phone to one kid, it might be very heavy. It may feel like 1,000 pounds in their hand. Really, that kid will avoid holding even a pen. So now looking at those, the identity, I would say, of those needs of the kid and really supporting them. So when the kid is sensory seeking, how can I help the kid bring their sensory seeking to a threshold where they can fully engage within society? And when they are avoiding, how can I expose them to those things that they are avoiding so that they can reach the threshold that allows them to be fully functional within society? And within clinics, yes, like Dr. Again, when she was saying, really, when you discover the potential of the kid, you really are able to explore. I see kids, I start a kid one day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. All they can do is run around, right? 12 weeks later, I see a kid that can sit down and make slime or, write something, write A, B, and C. So really diving into the strength of that kid and really working within those strengths and helping the kid become what they want to be. What else did she ask? At home, we have a lot of things that we can use at home because within the clinic, we have all these equipment and tools that we can use. But at home, we can use things like flour and using that to help a kid with weakness in their hands strengthen their fingers to manipulating things and improving their fine motor skills. And I know for us Africans, we want them to be excelling in everything that they're doing. Or I want your handwriting to be excellent and everything. But when I'm telling parents, I want you to use dough and make dough at home and help your kid when you're cooking, involve them in the cooking process, have them play with the tomatoes or whatever. And they're like, oh no, I don't want my home to be messy or anything. But those are the skills that will help a kid because think about it, when you see the developmental process of a kid, they first play, they crawl, everything. But when our kids they are on the spectrum, they avoid those things. Some kids don't even crawl, right? So, and I'm telling the parents, when your kid is trying to play, have them be on 4 points. That will help them strengthen their fingers, strengthen their upper bodies. It's, no, I want you to give me equipment that I want them to use. I'm like, no, you have things at home, in your kitchen, in your bedroom, in your living room, that your kid can use to develop those skills. What else? Well, questions will come and I'll come back and address more.
Thank you so much. That was a really amazing insight. Okay, next we have Mona. Mona, thank you so much for participating in this panel. My question for you is, what inspired you as a new center owner? And I know your story, but I would love for you to share. What inspired you to open your center, Aran Therapy?
So the reason I start opening Aran Therapy, and I'm not the only one, my husband is here, so we're two of us, is our oldest son, my apple of my eyes, was diagnosed with autism at a younger age, at age, I would say 18 months. Just like any other mom, I was in denial. How can my only son, at that time I only had one, how can he be autistic? He's just one child, There's no one else to play with him. He'll talk. I was in denial for about 4 months. Those 4 months that I was in denial, that I was telling my family members who noticed it, who were telling me, something's wrong with your child. I, as a mom, was giving out a specific eye. Everything he does, every move he makes, I was making a note. So, okay, this is what he's doing today. So this is what is going on. So I took him to his doctor. He is 21 today. So doctors didn't diagnose back then. All these beautiful centers or APA therapy, none of those exist. So I had to take him to a special doctor. Her name was Michelle. She's one of the founders of Fraser, who at the time was retired. She used to assist the schools. So we live in Washington County. So they had a contract with her. And schools at the time were the only one that can diagnose. So she came, very wonderful lady. Up to today, I appreciate her. I don't know if she's alive or dead. So she came, and she specifically told me, your son is autistic. I don't even know what autistic is. I don't know how to go about it. So all I did was at that time tell her and ask her, and I'm not somebody who's shy about asking. I said, what is autism? How do I deal with it? What do I do? Is it something disease? Is it something that people can catch? Just like any other moms, I was confused. So she explained to me what it is, that it's a developmental delay. Now it has different names. Back then it was just a little developmental delay. So I did my study, I read, I did the research, and I finally come to the realization, okay, it is what it is. God gave me a beautiful child. Alhamdulillah. So what is next? So the next step that I did was, we start a class called Mommy and Me. Every Thursday, 3 hours, me and him will go. 1 hour he'll talk to, they will pull him aside with his kids. And if it still exists, the new moms out there, please try it. It's really wonderful. And me and the other moms will go and have a chat, talk about what is it, how do we improve it, what is the new thing. So that's how I started learning about autism. And me and my husband did everything possible in our book, Back then, insurance wasn't paying for it, so we had to do the OT separately, speech separately, swimming separately. Any therapy that somebody mentioned, I'll throw him out there. What it's a music therapy. I don't know if it still exists. There's something used to call brushing therapy. I don't know if it's still there today. So we go on the brushing therapy. So there were so many therapy people are telling you. So we did. Alhamdulillah. Today he's going to be 21 November, this November. He graduated high school. My plan was him to walk on that stage with his peers, that he won't go back. Our child was nonverbal until age 4, so I understand what Mahad was saying. So he wasn't communicating, he wasn't talking to anyone. So with a lot of hard work and God's help, and with the community, although back then there was a lot of stigma. You know, you could have done this, you could have done this, if you done this, if you would have done this. None of those it is today. Today, mashallah, our community accepted. The second thing that I want to add before I move into the next question that they will ask me, this is why I started this. I don't need it at the moment because he's on his own. He talks, he advocates for himself. One thing that we pushed him, what we pushed him for him to speak for himself. I cannot always be there. I cannot the one who always behind him saying, oh, excuse me, he doesn't mean to run into you. He doesn't mean to push you. Because some of the autism kids don't know this space. So you two might be talking and he'll just go between you two. Because in his mind, he doesn't see you, you're not there. So one thing we taught him is to advocate for himself. I apologize, like if I bump into you in the middle of a supermarket or in the middle of a class, it's like I'm autistic. Sometimes I don't know my space. So now he will advocate for himself. So that's one thing I will want parents to tell the kids to advocate for themselves, because we cannot always be with them. As much as we love to, we cannot 24/7 be with them. Second thing I would tell parents, which in story me and my husband are really passionate about, is letting the neighborhood that you live in know that your child is autistic. We might not all be living in a community that we love to. We might all live in out of nowhere. In Minnesota, we all live in suburb. Make sure that you knock the doors. Have a little face, because my child likes to walk. And when he walks, he listens to music, and his music is all over. So I apologize for what I'm about to say, but Karen might call the police on him. So that's something I always had back in my head. So we took his picture and himself, took him to our neighborhood police station. We let them know that he's autistic. If you see him walking around, if somebody called the police on him, know that he is autistic. Know that he might not understand your command. Put him on their system. Give his picture so they will know tomorrow if one of those cars, what are they called, the police cars, to stop him, that they're aware when he comes up in his system, that they know. Thank you.
Thank you, Mama. What a beautiful inspiration behind opening the center. And I went to tour Mona Center, and it's beautiful. Their sensory room is out of this world. Thank you so much. Last we have Muhammad Ali, and I was thinking long and hard about what question to ask you, because as I said, I know Muhammad Ali. I feel like I remember when you were like just yay high, you know? And now, I worked with Muhammad Ali as well. He's always worked with children. He's always been like a youth mentor and leader. And it filled my heart with so much pride to see that now he's an office manager in St. Cloud at an autism center. And so my question to you, Mohammed, is if you were to give one or two pieces of advice to parents who are in the community, what would that advice be based on your experience, your very long experience working with youth, and specifically autistic youth?
Bismillah. My background is education. I've been working at the school district for about 7 to 8 years. And then I transitioned into the autism world in the city of St. Cloud. Compared to here, there's a big gap. There's an enormous gap of understanding the stigma or accepting the stigma actually of autism. Making it aware is one thing and accepting it is another thing. So the biggest advice I would say is know that there is a difference. That autism is not a disability, but more of a different ability, as mentioned before. It's more of, it's not curable, but it's treatable. So there was a parent that asked, there are so many autistic kids that are arising every single year. Are the hospitals just making extra money on that, or is when they're born, are they injecting them with something that will cause them to be financially? Is that something that's happening? So I tell them that the brain is wired certain ways, and so all of us humans, we're in the spectrum. Whether you want to believe it or not, we're on some part of the spectrum. We're more on the normal side, though. So kids are more on the higher spectrum. Kids are more on the lower spectrum. High, mentally developed kids. There was a kid I seen in our center where he wrote the alphabets, or not the alphabets, but he wrote the states, the 50 states abbreviations from A to Z in order from memory. We need to appreciate that. We need to celebrate that. We need to also understand that these kids need assistance in understanding how to cope in our regular, casual life. And for that to happen, it starts at home. And if the parents are in denial, we can work with them 40 hours a week, nothing will happen. If the parents are not aware that these kids need assistance, and I'm ready for whatever the center is, whether it's OT, whether it's speech, whether it's ABA therapy, if I'm not in the picture, then I am setting my kid up for failure. A good example I can finish this off with is, there was a kid who was on the beach with his father. And his father came out to see him on the shoreline, and the shoreline was filtered with starfishes. And the starfishes, they need water, but they can't move on their own. And if they do, it's very slow. And so the father seen his son picking up a starfish and throwing it into the water. And then walks a little bit, and then does it again. And then walks a bit and does it again. And the father said, hey, it's getting late, you're wasting your time. There's so many starfishes, you cannot possibly pick them all up. What are you doing? Come back inside. So the son looked at his father's eyes, smiled, and then looked down, grabbed the starfish, and threw it into the water, and said, I made a difference for that one.
Thank you so much. What a powerful way to end this panel. I'm reading the room, and I feel like we could use a break. We need to go eat all that delicious food, those desserts. We also have chef from Zawadi or tea. Thank you again to Zawadi for all the wonderful work that you're doing. We also want you to spend some time with our sponsors who are sitting over there on the right. Thank you so much. They're the ones who made it possible for all of us to be here. So let's give them a hand of applause. They have a lot of information to share with you, so please go grab a treat, some tea, and go visit our sponsors, and we will resume our program in about 20 minutes. Thank you.